But our first story tonight in Asking for a Friend is the Super Bowl streaker. Did you guys finally catch the video of this guy on YouTube?
Saw it when it happened. Yeah. Saw the video on YouTube and saw that he may or may not be cashing in on some serious dough.
Now, I've seen both ways. I've seen an actual story. They're hard to find. I saw it on a prep service, a radio prep service I still have access to, that it was real. I've also seen all over the internet that it's fake, but it reads like this. So Ryan Butler is the streaker from the Super Bowl, and apparently he bet 7 different bets equaling a total of $375,000 that there would be a streaker on the field during the game. So he spent $5,000 on 2 tickets for him and his friend. His friend jumped on the field first. We didn't see that because security promptly speared his friend before he got on the field. But he only used that as a distraction so that he himself could get out on the field in his hot pink singlet where he it was riding high up the old ass crack.
Kind of had a Borat look to it.
Yes, it did. So they had an agreement. He would pay him $10,000. He would pay the friend $10,000 for as being the distraction, and then he would also pay to get him out of jail. The streaker paid a total of $2,000, getting himself and his friend out of jail. He then upped what he said he was going to give his friend to $20,000 since it worked, and he ended up gaining a total of $348,000 based off of the prop bet that there would in fact be a streaker on the field during the Super Bowl. So Adam, the question we have for you is this legal? Is this something that he can collect on? Is there anything that says you make a bet and then you make the bet happen? Is there anything that disqualifies him from his big payday?
Yeah, so I was actually looking at the rules for a few betting websites and like the Caesars Sportsbook rules. There wasn't anything specific in those, but then I was on the Nevada Gaming Commission's website, and there's a whole statute in there that basically says that if you alter or even know of something material that would alter the course of the outcome of a bet, and you bet on that you can't recover. It's actually considered fraud in Nevada, and you could possibly be prosecuted for it.
Now, are all of these gaming sites, do they have to go through the Nevada Gaming Commission, or like because I know if I'm not going to say any of the legit names, but I know some of them are based in New Jersey and things like that, and aren't necessarily, they go by the Nevada lines, but they don't necessarily abide by the Nevada rules. So if he just sprinkled these bets about on different sites, I mean, could he skirt those rules?
Well, I wouldn't think so. I would think that any state, I just use Nevada as an example, but I would think that any state that is going to have gambling that would be one of the first things you would say, is that if you engage in any sort of criminal conduct in relation to a bet you place, or if you alter the outcome of a game. I mean, if you walked onto the field and, I don't know, let's say that the game was a little different and the Chiefs are driving to win the game, and you go in there and take out Patrick Mahomes' kneecaps and then to cover a bet. I mean, there's no way that you would be able to recover on that bet. Plus, all right, so that's the statute legal line. But I would also say this, even if you could, the guy didn't really streak, right? I mean, he wasn't naked. He was wearing a leotard. I would say he didn't actually streak.
Yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
That's fair, but he did show his naked ass cheeks.
I don't know if that's considered streaking.
Yeah,
I think for a male, it has to be,
dick and balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Division sign.
Yeah, I think he failed at not just arming himself with a trench coat, because that's really the way you go about doing these things. Yeah, and I'd have to agree. If I'm Vegas, I'm like, nah, buddy. I didn't see Dong flip-flopping around on national. I am sorry, sir. You did not streak. You just ran on the field and got tackled. That is your fault.
Exactly. I mean, I would want to see what the actual prop bet said. If it said a streaker, or if it's somebody that ran on the field. I feel like they say streaker, probably.
Yeah, that's what I would think so.
It probably says streaker, but I feel like, okay, in a court of law, I feel like I could make an argument that the term streaker is a rather broad term, simply meaning someone making their way onto the field of play illegally from the stands. Because in the past, you had a lot of. Okay, that one chick, the chick from like the 70s and 80s with the big tits that would come on and like
the kissing bandit or whatever. What was it?
Yeah, Kissing Bandit.
They considered her a streaker, but she never showed those big, luscious fluff pillows that came out onto the field. But she was still considered a streaker. So I feel like that could be semantics there.
I don't think so. I never considered her a streaker.
No, just came out, planted kisses on the cheeks of athletes.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Internet, the Oxford definition of a streaker:
okay.
A person who runs naked in a public place, especially in order to shock or amuse others. Naked, right there in the definition. Guy wasn't naked.
I want to point out something unrelated to streaking is that if I were if I was the friend of this guy who was responsible for bailing him out, even if I was almost, I'd say like 90% guaranteed that this bet was going to pay off, if I had to bail any of my friends out for $2,000 for a stunt like this, I might be like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a little tough. I don't know about that one, bro.
Yeah, but $2,000 to make $350,000.
Well, according
the friend was only going to make 20.
Yeah.
He said he would pay his friend $20,000 out.
Sure, but he paid the $2,000 to get them both out of jail. So my point would be that he paid $2,000 to make himself $350,000.
Well, here we are debating the legitimacy of whether or not he's going to cash out. So it might have been $2,000 pissed away down this guy's unshown ass crack.
I'm looking up the definition of brief nudity as it applied to the old HBO standard in the back of the pamphlet, and it does say that the naked butt cheeks is considered brief nudity as far as the MMAP standards are concerned. So I could make an argument that showing the naked butt cheeks would be considered nudity, and then that would also imply...
The definition doesn't say somebody who runs into a field briefly nude. It says naked. Naked. That means no clothes whatsoever.
I would say nude is the present tense of nudity.
I would say that you're wrong.
I think I guess the bar here is, did they blur out the cheeks? If they didn't have to blur out the cheeks, then it's not nudity.
They turned the camera because the NFL's a bunch of pussies and they don't like true fucking
because they didn't know. Right. You never know what's going to happen, nudity or otherwise. That's why they turned the camera, but they didn't have to blur it. I haven't seen blurred cheeks, is all I'm saying. In the videos that I've seen, in other pictures, I didn't see any blurs. So, not nudity.
Because the internet's the Wild West, baby. We don't need to blur that shit.
Yeah, but CNN would blur the cheeks if there was like a little bit of brown eye that you could see. So
basically, this whole thing is going to come down to some video forensics expert taking zoomed-in photos of this guy's butt to figure out if the other guy's going to make $375,000, right?
Yes. And they're going to play blurred lines in the black background just to enhance everything. Did he get paid out? Did he get paid out?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You don't think he will? Now, my follow-up question to that is, does he still owe his friend $20,000?
Well, that would depend on what the agreement was. If the agreement was, I'll give you $20,000 out of my $375,000 that I win, then no, assuming that he doesn't get paid out. But you would have to figure out how it was worded. He said, "I'll give you $20,000 flat if you do this." That's a different story.
Okay, now I wasn't there, but I know how this went down. There was about a third of a bottle of Jameson that had just exited the top of some glassware, and it was like, "Yo, listen, I'm gonna put like 5 bets on a guy being on the field. You're gonna jump the fence and get speared, right? Yeah. I'm gonna run on the field because they got you and not me, and then I'm gonna give you like $10,000. But if it works, I'm gonna give you like 20." I guarantee that's how that fucking conversation went.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If he said that, I'll give you $10,000 regardless, then yeah, he owes him $10,000.
Okay. The prop bets, the blue Gatorade was another prop bet. I'm just thinking about this. Couldn't you just tell a friend, asking for a friend, couldn't you just tell a friend, like, "Hey, Wes, I'm the honorary water boy for the Super Bowl. Listen, put $30,000 on blue fucking Gatorade, okay? does Wes get to collect the money for me if no one can prove that I said Wes is going to be blue?
Well, the same statutes that I was talking about earlier, they say that what you just described is also illegal, but certainly a lot tougher to prove than placing the bet yourself.
Yeah, that makes
so. From our legal counsel, if you're gonna streak on the field, place a prop bet, always let your friend bet the money for you before you exit the stands.
Yeah. And make sure that friend is not also the same guy who was getting drunk with you before you decided to jump onto the field. Actually don't call, because then it'll be in your phone records. I don't know. Communicate with somebody. Send a letter to somebody far away from the game and have them place the bet.
It probably shouldn't be a person that you have like hundreds of recorded hours of video with either. Right. Just going out on a limb.
Are we streaking next year? All right. Fucking A.
Somebody who's never been on the show is.
Is there? Can you do a prop bet for O's opening day if there will be a streaker? I wonder what the odds are.
I tell you that if we get kicked out of the stadium for life, I don't know. I go too much. Alan, you down?
Yeah, no way. Someone else who has never been on the show can absolutely do it for us.
Someone we don't know.
Another non-legal question. Now, in modern times, it's probably enforceable. But like 20, 30 years ago, if you were banned from a stadium, they really fucking ban you from a stadium. Like if I went like 3 months later to a different like ticket entrance, are they really gonna know not to let me in?
I mean, now they would.
Yeah, because they probably got facial recognition all over the place.
You think they got facial recognition software at Camden Yards to keep out people who've been booted from the stadium? No. Listen, it's no different now. I think it would be worse back then because, back in the old timey days, everybody knew everybody. And, now people are just kind of faceless drones. Scan.
I don't think me and Kelly could get through any gate over there without people knowing this. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, Murr, do yourself a favor. Get the glasses with the fake nose and the mustache if you're really that fucking worried about it, all right?
The Humpty nose.
Yeah.
No, I mean, okay, I could see if you're a season ticket holder, like they could just like ban all your barcodes or something like that, cancel your tickets. But I guess some regular schmuck like me who buys tickets at the window on the way in, I'm like, I could streak tonight and be back tomorrow. Just keep my head down while they scan and just go in, right?
I don't know about tomorrow.
You got your name in a database and you hand them your credit card. Boom.
Cash, baby. I'm only cash. I don't trust the fucking government. I use Bitcoin only.
I mean, if they need to use the cameras, I know what kind of cameras they have, and they will fucking find you if they need to use them.